getting into this lifestyle as heavily as he did, there's a lot of scenes of him swigging alcohol, smoking, taking drugs, and then, of course, a scene that I desperately wanted to talk about, which is where they're at a house party, and there's some really fun stylistic choices going on. We'll get on to Jonah Hill in a little bit. But then he's approached by a lady who I'm guessing is about 16, 17 years old. I'm
Yeah, I'd say
guessing,
so.
possibly. Maybe she's 15. And she leads him into a bedroom and they have some kind of sexual contact. I couldn't believe this was happening. At this point, I wasn't sure what age he was. I thought he was 12. I thought he was 12, but you say he's 13, right?
That's what Google says. So I don't know.
Were,
Doesn't
were
make
you
it any better,
as
James.
I know, were you as creeped out by this scene as I was? Because if you reverse the genders, this is just a pure pedophilic scene going on almost. But because it's female on male, I'm not sure whether they thought it was okay. I certainly didn't.
That's it. Again, talking about eighth grade, there's that scene in the car where the older boy is dropping the younger girl off, and he's like, I don't know, let's do things. And he's like, I'm just trying to be nice, like, so you're not like gonna go to someone and be like, oh, I'm a virgin or whatever. For anyone listening, that does not matter. But obviously, it's the complete opposite in this one, where the younger boy really, really wants this experience. And it's not even necessarily peer pressure, it's just the idea that growing up, he has to have experienced all this stuff. And right now is the time to do that, even though right now is not the time to do that. He's a child. But I just thought it was mental that this girl was happy to do that. And we don't know what they did. We don't know what they did. But it scares me to think of what they did do. Um, yeah,
Yeah, he comes out and brags about certain things, which I feel like he wouldn't have even known what they were unless they happened. So
yeah.
it, yeah, I just felt very uncomfortable watching it, and I couldn't actually believe this was the route we were going down.
Mm.
Uh, I was quite shocked by it, and I just felt terribly, terribly sorry for the actress who had to play that scene and kiss this young boy
Yeah,
because it must have been so uncomfortable.
it must have been. But it's Alexa Demi who plays Maddie in Euphoria. Is it Maddie? I think she plays Maddie in
Yes.
Euphoria. So obviously she's used to kind of being this really cool, hip character who kind of everyone craves to be with and is very beautiful. But yeah, to go from something like Euphoria that everyone's the same-ish age, um, to then suddenly having to act with a much younger boy doing this really awkward scene. I don't know, and just to imagine like just to imagine Jonah Hill stood there like directing me. Like, is this a weird nightmare or something? Can you imagine?
I didn't think about.
Oh my god. No offense to any of them, but that would you just think, am I in like a weird dream sequence or something? Like why is Jonah Hill stood in the corner? Like what is going on? Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Um
Sorry, but just
yeah.
the visual of the young boy with his top off, and he's just prepubescent, and you just think, "Ugh, no, this is just so wrong. This is just I can't handle it." So that for me was the biggest turn off of the film. But maybe we should be praising the filmmaker for being honest and not flinching at this moment. But also at the same time, as you bring up that scene in eighth grade, it felt very predatory, and it felt like the filmmaker had staged it in a way that everyone watching that scene understood the wrongness of this. Whereas I feel like that was a failure here, mid 90s. It didn't. Maybe because the characters are so unaware, they have no guidance in their life from a real parental figure that they're not aware that this is just terrible behavior. It's just
Yeah.
completely poor behavior. So maybe that's what he was going for, but at the same time, I would have appreciated the scene just not being in there, if I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Or even have something similar, but whether Alexa Demi's character was like, whoa, this is weird. We're not doing that. You're too young, little man, or whatever. I don't know why it's little man. Just imagine her saying that to him. Or him being like, actually, I'm quite scared. I don't want to do this. And she being like, that is okay. I feel they could have definitely played it in a good way to show young children that you don't have to do anything or be forced to do anything until you are absolutely ready. But no, I think the way that they did it was obviously quite a big a jump and a leap. But obviously they felt that was the way forward.
I think part of my problem might be you asked me before if I've been binge watching anything during this lockdown. One thing that I have been watching a lot of on YouTube, and it's become a bit of addiction of mine, is these channels that expose pedophiles.
Oh my
They'll
gosh.
they'll come up with catfish accounts on dating apps, and then they'll agree to meet them in public, and then they'll shame them. I've watched about 1 million of those videos. They're so fascinating to me.